What up, everybody? YouTube Live, how's it going? How's it going? Today is Friday, or tonight is Friday, January 22nd, and the second special episode of HBO series Euphoria aired earlier this evening. I finally got around to watching it just now. Just finished watching it right now, and man, I love this show. I really, really love this show. I cannot tell you enough about it. But let's get right to it, okay? This review is mainly for those of you, my fellow Euphoria fans, who have also watched tonight's episode. So, if you haven't seen it yet, better look away because there will be spoilers in this video review. There are spoilers in this review. Let me double check real quick, make sure that we are live. Sometimes I can do it on my phone if my internet would work with me. There you go. Alright. So, the previous special episode was about Rue and Coleman Domingo's character, and they were at the restaurant and they had a long talk, very therapeutic. And today's episode, special episode 2, again written and directed by the creator Sam Levinson, but it's also co-written by the star of this special episode 2, Hunter Schafer, Jules. Let me read to you the description that I got on my email here. The second special episode, directed by Euphoria creator Sam Levinson, entitled F Anyone Who's Not a Sea Blob, follows Jules, played by Hunter Schafer, over Christmas holiday as she reflects on the year. And let's see here. It says here, Schafer serves as co-executive producer on the second special episode, which she co-wrote with Levinson. And of course, just like the previous special episode, this too was shot or filmed during COVID, under COVID safety guidelines. That's why in tonight's episode, Jules like sitting, with her therapist, and the therapist is like 6 feet distance away, because you gotta stay safe, right? How do I feel about tonight's episode? It's, first of all, it's kind of nostalgic. I know that Euphoria season 1 is not like freaking a decade ago, but man, it's like summer 2019, and it's now 2021. I still feel like if only they had just kind of shot season 2 before pandemic started, I don't know why they couldn't find the scheduling right between all the actors. Maybe they're busy, I don't know. But I'm like, oh, we didn't get season 2 last summer. So 2019, kind of felt it feels a distance away, at least for me. And so in tonight's episode, Jules reflects on some of the things that happened on season 1. It's like the other side of that coin. At least part of the episode tonight. It's like it shows the other side of the coin of season 1. It's like, for example, at one point she's like preparing for a Halloween party, and then there's another thing going on. She overheard something's going on. So that side of the coin we did not get to see in season 1. That's what this episode, or special episode 2, provides for us. So that's interesting. The other thing that's interesting is the format of it. I get it, right? Because we're in pandemic, so they couldn't do much. There's not much action going on. There's not much interaction that can be happening. And again, like I said, even her and her therapist have to be like quite a distance away. And the same thing with the previous special episode 1 with Coleman Domingo and Zendaya. Because of the COVID safety guidelines and everything, it all has to be reduced to just dialogues, to just conversation. But you know what? I like it. There's something cathartic about it. There's something that's like, I don't know, hearing Hunter Schafer. I hope I pronounced that last name correctly. Hearing her share her story, about transitioning and the hormone shot and it's just like I was like fixed on it the whole time. I was like listening, so I was paying attention more than I did back when I was in school. It was just so, I don't know, there's something cool about it. Which, by the way, Sam Levinson, the creator of Euphoria, directed this, written and directed Malcolm and Marie, starring his muse Zendaya. I already posted my review of Malcolm and Marie on my YouTube channel, so go check it out. So that's a fantastic film, by the way, one of the best of the year. So, but back to Jules. The format, the therapy, it reminds me of In Treatment. Do you remember that show, HBO In Treatment, Gabriel Byrne? It's all psychological, it's all about feelings, it's all about, pouring your heart out, laying your soul bare, putting it all out. I was like, let me get it off my chest. And I've never been to a psychiatrist. I don't know about you guys, but I have never been. Not once in my whole life that I've gone to therapy. I might try it one of these days. I know it's expensive. I hear they charge about $500 an hour or something like that. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But it seems it's like going to the confession box, right? If you're Catholic, you feel lighter when you walk out. When you walk out from it, when you exit, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I got to share that with somebody. And and priests and psychiatrists, they're bound by I guess their oath to keep everything confidential. So it's not the same as sharing it with your friend or with your girlfriend or with your parents. It's kind of different. But yeah, it reminds me of In Treatment so bad. I was like, oh my god, this is like watching In Treatment all over again. Let's get to the substance of it, okay? And this is the hard part. I was trying to come up with the right words. In my head, I was like, okay, before I tackle this, I gotta make sure I, address it correctly, put the sentences together correctly, because this specific substance is not my forte, and I'm still learning as I go. By that, I mean the substance of what Hunter or Jules shares in this episode. Hunter co-wrote the episode with Sam Levinson, so I would like to believe that some of the things that Jules says on this episode come from Hunter's personal, I don't want to say struggle, but more like experience, especially when she says, how she feels insecure around girls, the girls will be judging her, looking her up and down, and I know that's the thing that girls do, but boys or men, us men, we do that as well. We kind of like, if somebody comes to the herd and some stranger, like, who's this guy? We're trying to dissect him, but I think girls do it more. But she feels that coming from the perspective of her being trans woman. So imagine a woman already feels, insecure being judged or judged or seen that way. It's like, oh, do I meet the standard of what's in their heads? Imagine that's already being hard for a woman or a girl. It's even harder for a trans girl like Hunter, probably. At least that's what she's sharing her. She's sharing here. It's like, and she talks about, I think, getting off the hormones, and I'm not really knowledgeable on that whole aspect of transitioning. The whole testosterone and whatever shots to decrease it or increase it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not knowledgeable about that. But you know what? I'm glad that Hunter, in her co-writing this episode with Sam Levinson, I'm glad that she goes there, because I don't think any other show has ever tackled that before. Other shows maybe have trans characters, but the things that Hunter shares on this episode, I mean, it's really deep, and it's really like probably the first, as far as television goes. It's like, and I'm glad that we got to this point in our time, in our society, where we are open to hearing about that, as opposed to the 90s, 80s, 70s, like, oh, taboos, like, no, what are you talking about? So hearing her perspective, talking about her insecurities around girls or around like stuff like that, it's just like, wow, that's honest, that's brutally honest, that's kind of refreshing to hear, and I think that's the kind of stuff that we need to hear, to generate or to develop empathy even more for the LGBTQ community. And I think also credit goes to Sam Levinson for allowing Hunter to do that, to co-write with him, and that's also a big part of why I love this show, Euphoria. It's just not afraid to go there. And because this is the other side of the coin of season 1, we also got to see on this episode the whole thing with I think his name is Nate, right? But his chat name is Shy Guy 118, which is Tyler or something like that. And then so Jules shares how the sexual imaginary or fantasies, the sexual experience, however you want to call it, that she has with Shy Guy 118, at times it could be more rewarding than the feelings that she has for Rue. But you know what? It's totally understandable. I think a lot of us can put ourselves in her shoes, in that, at least for me, there were times when I was younger that I was more afraid to actually approach or to actually deal with my feelings about a woman. I'm hetero, but I was more afraid to do that, than to just like chat online or I don't know, you want to call it fantasize. There you go. It's so much more alive when you don't have to confront. And I'm not a confrontational kind of person. I think you can even call me passive aggressive. I avoid it at all costs. But at the end of today's episode, when Rue comes in, because Rue comes in along the way, of course, because it's the other side of the coin of season 1. When Rue comes in, and at the end, it's so heartbreaking and so heavy for both characters. That's real. Now that moment right there, instead of imagination or sexual fantasy, that's real. Like a love that can get you to ache, a love that's painful, a love that hurts. That's real. I know some people don't agree with that. Some people say, hey, that's not love. Love should make you happy. Love should always be sunshine and rainbow and smiles all the time. Um, but sometimes, man, the not able to have somebody, or the not able to be with somebody, that's the not able to express your feelings to somebody, the not able to confront those feelings, that's more powerful at times. That's when because when you hurt, when you ache, that's when you really, really, really care about that somebody. And so I don't know if my interpretation of today's episode is your interpretation of today's episode. You might see it from a different perspective. You might judge the themes or the substance of what Jules says or Jules shares differently from me, and that's fine. I'm just telling you where I'm coming from and how I see or how I analyze the stuff that Jules shares. And it's deep, it's profound, it's yet another great episode of Euphoria. I can't tell you how pissed off I am that we have not gotten season 2. Both these special episodes, these chatty special episodes, they're good, they're fun, they're awesome. I love them. All right, and I welcome them, and I can watch these special episodes again and again, and it cuts deep, and it's really character driven, and you really get to know Rue and Jules, even better because of it. But I want season 2. I want a whole story. I want things to move along. And so hopefully that happens. But yes, overall it's just a fantastic season special episode 2. By the way, Hunter Schafer is kind of hot. I know. I'm man enough to admit, or I'm man enough to say that. I think she's a very attractive trans woman, and this is, I believe, her first acting gig ever, right? She was a model, like an Insta model or something like that, before Euphoria gig, and then she got this gig, and she just blew up. And my God, her acting, her performance on this special episode was fantastic. I mean, her acting in season 1 was great, but this is like, because it's kind of like meta, part Hunter sharing Hunter's story, part Jules sharing Jules' story. Because of that, it looks like so genuine and so intimate and so personal, and I feel the power in every minute of this episode. It's just so, I get that Zendaya is the Emmy winner. I love that, but I hope someday soon that Hunter could also get her trophy, because she's just fantastic. She is a wonderful, wonderful actress. So yeah, those are the bullet points. Those are the thoughts that I have about tonight's special episode 2. Let me know what you think. Do you agree or disagree with my assessment? Was there some things that I missed out on about today's episode? That things that I overlooked perhaps? If you want to bring it up in the comment section. What do you think of today's episode? What do you think about the writing quality on Hunter's part? What do you think about the substance of what Hunter shares as Jules in this episode? I would like to hear all of it, so share your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe. God, I freaking love Euphoria. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Let's rock this.